Morning, Spencer.
Good morning.
Got a great guest in studio here today to kind of talk about big-time elections that happened. Of course, November 5th was the general election, and one of the things that folks were voting on in the Pioneer School District was the Pioneer School 402 local capital levy to share costs of expanding and renovating Shelton High School, kind of picking up on what the Pioneer School District as a feeder school into the high school of Shelton, kind of their contributions that they needed to put forth here. John Gummel is the superintendent, and we've been with him following this along, and as of the most recent totals, they're all kind of pretty much all said and done with certification next week. You guys came away with this one at 54.44% to 45.56%, so that's a big time yes for you guys.
Yeah, it is. It's a 10% swing on the votes. So I feel very fortunate that our voters. It wasn't if you look at a 50% vote, you're thinking, okay, well, 50% of the people still aren't with us. But when you're at a 10% swing, I think that's a solid yes.
And this would have passed the last go around, but we had that crazy snowstorm, and a lot of folks, for whatever reason, weren't able to get their ballots in, and it was just a couple votes, wasn't it?
Yeah, we last year missed it 4 votes to tie, 5 votes to win.
Wow.
And so
I didn't realize it was that tight. Wow.
Yeah, I talked to a number of people who said, well, my ballot was sitting in the mailbox, and I thought, oh my gosh, if I didn't have a game plan for that. So this year I actually had a game plan for that.
Yeah.
We were going to go around, and if we did have snow, we were going to go around and pick them all up.
Hey, we'll deliver. I'm looking, and on the auditor's website, you can kind of go through precinct, as it were, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 10 precincts or so. Of those different precincts, looks like the majority of folks did vote in favor, of course, to give you the win on this one. And how many groups would you say you went and talked with? I know that when we shared your interview the last time you were here on the show, people were commenting about that. They were also, and then you guys were pretty quick to respond to folks as well, saying if you have some folks were a little negative in their responses, and you guys were quick to say, hey, we would love to talk with you and explain what this is all about.
Sure. So I went out probably, I would say, to a dozen groups, community groups, to spread the message. And anytime we saw a negative comment on social media, or somebody in the community was saying something that was negative towards it, we would always reach out to them in some manner of, hey, what's your question? Well, how can I answer your question? What is it that you're confused on, or that you just don't like about it? I do want to hear from no voters. I think they help us create our game plan for moving forward. And I think there's a voice there that we have to hear.
What were some of the major concerns? Was it just kind of unsure of what this whole thing was all about?
Well, yes. I find that ironic. We've been having the same message over and over. This is about paying our share for Shelton. This is about reimbursing Shelton for the high school. This is not about a high school for Pioneer, and people just cannot divorce those two. They just said, well, if we vote yes for this, then we can get a high school. No, those are two separate ideas. And this is strictly just our responsibility to our students from our community to go to Shelton High School. That is all it was. If somebody had other confusions, I would try to set them straight. Yeah. But even there, a day or two before it, I saw that same type of comment about, well, what about a high school? This is tied to the high school, etc. We voted the high school down last time. I just don't know how more ways to say.
Sure.
There's so much misinformation.
I mean,
people don't read the.
Going to those 12 groups definitely helped, and I know that time here on the air was beneficial, hopefully, to get the word out there. And the other thing we talked about last time you were on here was how this helped to maintain Pioneer's independence.
Yes, it did.
From the K through 8 of the teaching, and kind of really focusing on what works good for you guys in your community before the possibility if this didn't happen and we had to get the state involved or whatever involved. The next thing you know, this perhaps could have been enveloped into the Shelton School District, which is something I don't think your voters really wanted.
No, I don't. And so as part of our campaign, when we talked about that was one of the fallouts of it. And I want to be transparent in everything that we do. And that is that was one of the messages we wanted to be transparent about, is if we don't do this, we are opening the door to being annexed into the Shelton School District. And when I talk to parents over and over and over, it is a strong, we are Pioneer.
Yeah.
We are Pioneer community. We are generational Pioneer. We have lived in this community. My family went to these schools. My grandparents went to the local the Pickering School or the Grant School or the local small schools that they had back then. And so there is a strong passion for our community, and so that's not a road our community did not want to go down.
Certified next Tuesday, and
yes.
then what happens after that? I mean, do you guys give Shelton like a big check or something?
No. So we levies are a year in advance.
Okay.
So we don't start collecting on this till next year, and so we will be getting a bill from Shelton for about $550,000 in late spring, and then in late fall.
Okay.
So will be our payment for the next 3 years.
You guys got anything else coming up here with the holiday season, Thanksgiving?
Well, funny
that?
you ask. Funny. We're having to run our enhancement levy. That's coming up, and so I feel terrible. Hey, we need to pass this capital levy, but on the flip side, we need to also pass this enhancement levy. So. So that's coming up. That will be in February, but we have the holidays coming up in the holiday season. So that's always an exciting time to be around schools, especially elementary schools, when they're putting on their shows and their songs and their.
It's always a fun time of the year.
It is. It's an awesome time.
So we have an early release coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Trimester 1 ends next Wednesday with another early release, and then Thanksgiving break for you guys. And PSD402.org is always a great way to see this. Also on social media, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. John, good to see you. Congratulations.
Oh gosh, I thank you, and thank you guys, and thank our community, and thanks all the people who've we were in their corner. So I really appreciate all the good mojo everybody gave me.
Well, keep us updated on what's happening in February, and we'll talk about it more later down the year.
Thank you, sir. I really
Have a good
appreciate
one.
the time.